Welcome to our discussion. Let's continue with our topic on the iterated integrals. And let's proceed with our sample number three. We have here the integral. We are asked to evaluate the integral of quantity 2x squared over y squared plus 2y from 1 to x dy. Okay, so if you look closely sa ato ang variable of integration, we have dy. So it means that this specific integral will be evaluated with respect to y. So tanan variable of y will be treated as a what? It will be treated as a constant. Okay. So we just rewrite this equation. We will have the integral of we have the 2x squared y to the negative 2 plus 2y dy from 1 to x. Uh, So this is just the power rule of our integral. That is just very simple. That becomes negative 2x squared y to the negative 1 plus we have y squared. And then to be evaluated from 1 to x. Now, our lower and upper limit, as na to apply, we are going to apply the lower and the upper limit to variables with respect to y. So we have negative 2x squared times we have the y to the negative 1 or over y. So that is x plus y squared. We just substitute the upper limit, which is x squared. Minus the lower limit, we have the negative 2x squared over 1 plus 1 squared. To simplify, we have negative 2x plus x squared plus 2x squared minus 1. Or we just simplify this further. We have 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. And then this will be the answer for our iterated integral. Okay, it's very simple. Ano? Look at the variables of integration and then apply ninyo if tanan variables in the function not related to the variable of integration will be treated as a constant, like the x squared here. So si x squared dira, wala na to gimong 1/3 x cubed because we treated that as a constant because we are only asked to integrate this function with respect to y. So this is we call this also the partial integration. And here we integrated the function with respect to y only. Okay, let's proceed with our sample number 4. So if you look closely with our sample number 4, we already have not one but two integrals. So saan nato ni pag-solve? We have this one and this one here, dy and the dx. So saan nato ni pag-solve? Actually, this is just related with the sample number 3. But this is a double integral. So we need to solve this one by evaluating first the inner integral. So we have this and then the dy. So man siya atong first nga evaluate in solving the double integrals. Si inners. And then after evaluating the inner integrals, we will continue to evaluate using sa outer or outside integrals. So if you notice the inner integral, that is with respect to y. So ato na siyang ma-solve. No, this one. So that is equal to 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. So ato lang ni i-write kay ato namang na-solve is we already solved this one. So dili na nato siya kinahanglan i-resolve para mas madali ta. So that is just equal to 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. But since we still have a remaining integral and that to be evaluated with respect to x, so we have the x integral of 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 dx evaluated from 1 to 2. Okay, you just evaluate this, then we will have x cubed minus x squared minus x to be evaluated from 1 to 2. Sorry, this is negative 1. Let's say this is from negative 1 and negative 1, the lower limit. So we just, since this is integrated with respect to x, therefore our lower and upper limits will be applied sa variable nga x. So for the upper limit, we have 2 cubed minus 2 squared minus 2 minus the lower limit, we have negative 1 cubed minus negative 1 squared minus negative 1. So we have here 8 minus 4 minus 2 minus, so what is 1 cube? Negative 1 cube. So we know that negative times a negative 1, that becomes a positive 1. But the positive 1 times a negative 1, that becomes a negative again. So we have here a negative 1 minus, so we have a negative, yes, that is also, since negative 1 squared is positive 1, so it just remain like that. And then negative of a negative, that becomes a positive. From here, mura na siya ma-cancel out. This becomes positive because that is a negative of a negative. You just simplify here. We have 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So this is the answer for this specific double integral. So again, take note that in a double integral, you need to evaluate first the insides, afterwards the outside. So yun na siya, no? It's quite simple. Now, since we have here two limits, the inner and the outer limits. So sa may pasabutan ni, we have the inside limit. We also have our outside limit of the function with respect to the variables of integration. So sa may tabuan ni, if you notice, our inside limit, so that is with respect to kung ana to y, the inside limit, since that is with respect to y, that ranges from y greater than or equal to 1, but less than or equal to x. Our outer or outside limit, since the variable of integration of our side limit is x, therefore that is the limit of x is greater than or equal to 1. Oh, this is 1, not negative 1. Yeah, but let's just continue to positive 2. Let's just correct this one. So that is a positive 1. Okay, at na to, we have 2 cubed minus 2 squared minus 2 minus we have the 1 cubed minus 1 squared minus 1. So we have here we have 8 minus 4 minus 2 minus that is 1 minus 1 minus 1. This just cancels out. Same thing that again we have 2 plus 1 or equal to 3. Okay, moving on. Our outside limit is from x is greater than 1 but less than 2. So, our inside limit, that is y is equal to or greater than or equal to 1 but less than or equal to x. And we have the outside limit, x greater than or equal to 1 but less than or equal to 2. If we graph this, these limits, we can form a boundary. So ato lang sa niunahon si x because we have a specific 1 and 2. We have a constant. So yun niya, outside limit, x is greater than or equal to 1. Diba, if you remember, when we have our, if we get the area, if we see that x is equal to 1, what does that mean? It means that this is the x is equal to 1. This is the lower limit, outside limit. And the upper limit of the outside limit, we have 2. So if this is 1, we have a 2 here. This is 1, and we have 2. So this is the other limit. Now, the inside limit, we have the y is greater than or equal to 1. So this is the limit for the inside limit. And then we have y is less than or equal to x. So that is y is equal to x. So if we have x is equal to 2, therefore y is equal to 2. But this one, it does not represent a point, but that represents a line. As you can see in the graph here. So if you can notice that the inside limits and the outside limits, what happened? It forms a boundary. This one, it formed a boundary. And then we have here a region represented by R. So it was shown in this picture, no? That one. So in the double integral di, the outside and the inside limit will form boundaries, and this because of these boundaries intersecting to each other, they form a region. We call that the region, and then eventually the I, we are getting the area bounded by that region. So mo din na siya si double integral pod. So it is na form nga region, and then afterwards we took the area of this. Okay, so mo lang na siya ang concept. For the double integral, you integrate first the inside, followed by the outside. Ano lang, i-apply lang din ang concept. If the variable of integration sa inside is y, therefore, the lower and upper limits of the inside should be applied only to variable y. And then sa ato ang outside, we have the variable of integration with respect to x. Therefore, we need to integrate the whole equation with respect to x and apply the lower and the upper limit with respect to x. Now, if we were asked to find the graph or to sketch the given different integral, then one is siyang mahitabo. You look at the lower and upper limits of the inside limit and the outside limit. And then you try to analyze the limits. And then you try to graph that. And eventually, you will find a region bounded by these limits.